My name's Ken Gustin. I've been selling consulting services and software for 25 years in the data warehousing and business intelligence and analytics space. And I'd like to share with you today a graphic that many of my customers over the years have found to be very helpful in guiding their journey towards being strong analytic competitors. What I'd like you to do as we move across this graphic that we're going to be building out together is try to place yourself, your organization along this continuum to help understand where you fit and perhaps identify what may be the next step or steps you want to take on as you become analytically mature and leverage data in ever more powerful ways to become stronger competitors. So along the X and Y axis, we have two variables. First, along the X axis, we've got analytics maturity, really over time. And again, you should try and plan on or recognizing that this is a journey and it's not something that happens overnight. So most customers spend years moving from the left side to the right side of this graphic. And unless you are truly exceptional, you should recognize that you'll be spending that same amount of time. And along the y-axis is the value to the organization. So as we move from left to right and upwards, you'll see that the value to the organization of each of these steps grows dramatically. And as in most graphics, our graph line sweeps from bottom left to upper right. So the process starts with data integration. And data integration really is critical. Even though it's sort of depicted in the lower left-hand corner, without it, nothing else really can be done. So most companies have data that comes from a variety of sources. And that data needs to be integrated, needs to be pulled together, it needs to be structured and organized and cleaned. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in order to get it in shape such that it can form the solid foundation upon which to build an analytics infrastructure. So that work needs to be done. Some organizations have that partially done. Some organizations have a lot of work to do. So data integration is the very first and very necessary step of this analytics journey. Once you've got your data house in order, beginning to distribute the information often takes the form of operational reporting. This is simple batch reporting, with the classic example being the sales report. This is usually run once a month and distributed to the salespeople and contains basic information about sales by product, by territory, by time period, etc. And these reports tend to be quite useful and helpful for salespeople and often guide an organization's actions and allow them to measure their success. Once folks get used to the operational reporting, the very next step is usually some curiosity on the user's part about additional questions. Gee, that's my sales number for the month. I wonder, for a specific situation, maybe I need to know how many of product A we sold in Massachusetts in the first quarter of last year. Maybe I'm looking to do a marketing campaign, or I'm looking to target a particular group of customers with an additional product, etc. And in order to do that, often operational reporting is not sufficient, and some level of ad hoc reporting is required. So that's the natural next step after operational reporting, is to enable your users with ad hoc capabilities. And at this point, even though we're still very early on in our analytics journey, we've delivered a powerful capability to our users, and that is we've given them the ability to identify what has happened. So that sounds simple, but it's very important, and it's something that lets users look over their shoulder, usually back a number of months and actually even years, in order to understand up till today, how are we doing? What are our numbers? And that's an important thing to know, to gauge, we're doing well, we're doing poorly, we're going up, we're going down, but it's powerful. The next step is to begin to understand not just what happened, but what's behind those numbers. And that can mean usually adopting some sort of dashboard or scorecard methodology wherein the data, rather than being depicted in columns and rows, is depicted graphically in pie charts or bar charts, etc. And being able to, at a glance, be able to digest a lot of information very quickly, and then interact with that data so that you can slice and dice and drill into the data and explore the data and really get an understanding of what's behind those numbers. Where did those numbers come from? Once you've got your arms around that and the users are satisfied with that level of understanding, it's often helpful to begin to look more deeply, more mathematically at these numbers and recognize the relationships between those numbers. So when this variable goes up by 10%, that variable seems to drop by 5%. What's behind that? What's causing that? And that tends to get us into the area of statistical analytics, which helps us, again, gain a deeper understanding of not just what happened, but in this phase of the journey, the focus is why did it happen, right? So that's particularly important because once we understand those relationships and why something happened, we can begin to build models, forward-looking models that project what's going to happen next. And we can do forecasting and predictive analytics based on that so that we can now, with an understanding of why something happened, look forward and say, well, this is what I can expect to happen, whether that's good or bad. And I can plan and make business decisions based on that understanding of what's likely coming next. So I can prepare for lean times, or I can ramp up for what looks like are going to be some very strong quarters ahead. Now, again, very, very powerful capabilities all, but the golden goose, the final piece of this, is called optimization. And this is where everybody is headed and everybody's trying to go. And what optimization really does is it answers the question, what's the best possible thing that can happen? So the idea here is you're looking for the analytics that you're doing to answer very specific business questions for you around what should I do? So an example might be if you're trying to optimize your price for, say, revenue. These models can help you decide that if I want to maximize revenue, given everything I know about my past history in sales and what my pricing was, et cetera, you want to maximize revenue, the system will tell you this is what your price point needs to be. Now, if you want to maximize profitability, that price point is likely different. But optimization is the point at which the system starts telling you what to do. It starts becoming a natural part of your business processes, a natural part of how you work within your departments, across other departments, with customers, with vendors, etc. And it's where everybody is looking to go. And it's the final step very often in this journey. Another important area to keep in mind, if you look at the bottom of the slide, we've added an element here, is that for many years, structured data was the focus of all of the analytics and reporting that we were doing. And that data came from your internal systems, typically columns and rows of numbers. And as time has gone on, the nature of the data has changed dramatically. So now we have not only structured data, which is still important, but semi-structured and even unstructured data that's available to us. And the volumes of that data are absolutely enormous. The challenge is to put the technology in place as you're moving along this journey from left to right, such that you can digest, consume, and analyze this unstructured data, usually by using some sort of text analytics technology to say digest what's being said in social media about your company or your competitors or your products, etc., and be able to digest that information, put it into some form that's somewhat structured so that your analytics tools and technology can digest it and analyze it along with your structured data. I hope you found that helpful and insightful. What I've done here is I've listed a number of LinkedIn groups that might be of interest to you if this is a subject area that you're particularly interested in pursuing. Each of these groups has its own slant, and I think you'll find valuable information within these groups and be able to network with other professionals who have been there and done that, or are maybe just working through it now. The bottom group that's listed, Data and Text Analytics Professionals, that group in particular is focused on unstructured data. So if that's your primary challenge, is being able to now embrace unstructured data and adding that into an existing analytics environment, I would say focus your attention on that group. In any event, that's my presentation for today. I hope you found it useful, and I wish you all the luck in the world on your analytics journey. Take care now. Bye-bye.